All right, welcome back. So when we stopped, we had gone through three of the different cases. Actually, the three easier cases for side-side angle given. So the last one that's left is this opposite side that is smaller, given that the angle is acute. So angle is acute, opposite side is smaller. We actually have three situations that can occur. So I think in the last slide, I talked about the fact that this guy right here, whoops, I guess it's stuck now. But it's possible for the opposite side to be smaller, to swing this way and create two different triangles, two different solutions, and we're not sure which one it is. And we're going to talk about how you can test to see which one it is. So let's start by saying, okay, there are two solutions, the hardest one. There are two solutions. If the height of the triangle, which I'm going to go ahead and denote here and put an H for height. So if the height is less than the opposite side. So if you see that, well, obviously in this picture, this side is definitely longer than the height, then you'll have this swinging capability where you'll have this bigger triangle, and you have to slide it over to the other one. Okay? There's a second case for this where you could have one solution, and that's where the height is equal to the opposite side. So if it's equal to the opposite side, you're going to get a right triangle. So if we find out when we draw this, that when you find the height, you say, oh, that value there is actually the same, the height is the same as the opposite side, then we have this right triangle created. So that's just one situation. And actually you could use Pythagorean theorem for that, I guess, to find the third one, if that's the case. All right? And then the final one is when there's no solution. And that is when the height that you find, and I'll tell you how to find the height in just a moment, is actually greater than the opposite side. And I'm going to visually show you why that just doesn't make any sense. So say you have this whole angle side. So you're drawing, this is supposed to be longer, and then this is supposed to, well, let me make it a little bit less. So this, and then you're thinking, this will connect here for B, or for the other side. So here's your height. And you're told, oh, hey, by the way, you calculated this height, and it's bigger than this. Yeah, that's not supposed to happen. You'll never create a triangle if your height is bigger than the given opposite side. So you can say no solution, which is actually super nice. You don't have to do any work. So the worst case scenario, as I guess work-wise, is if you have an angle that's acute, opposite side is actually smaller, and then you have this case. You actually have two solutions that you have to write out. So you actually have, instead of just one of these guys, you have to fill out two of them for the two different types of triangles. All right, now, I know you guys are like, well, Mr. Fisher, how do we find the height? Well, I'll show you. You're going to have this happen, and this happen. Here's your angle. We'll call that A. This is your height. We'll call that H. We'll call this little a, and we'll call this B. It can be C or B, okay? So this is angle side. To find H is just right triangle trig. So you're going to say sine of A equals H over B. Remember, A and B are given as values. So if we want to solve for H, it's going to equal sine of A times B. Okay, so that's what we're going to test out to decide which kind of the three possibilities we're going to see in this situation. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and get started with our practice problems. Let's see what we got. I think I started over here. Okay. We talked about that. That's kind of a given. It's a little bit more of like a bulleted form, but I think our flowchart might be a little bit more helpful. Okay. So let's look at this and decide what we have. So I'm looking at my triangle. I see 54 here. I see 8 and I see 5. This does not look like a 5. This looks like way more than 5. This looks smaller. This looks bigger. That's just to mess with you. So go ahead and pause the video and figure out which case we're talking about. All right. So the top of the line, the top of the screen does say no solution. So let's see if that's actually true. Maybe I'm tricking you. If we look at this situation, we do have a smaller side on the other side, so we need to check our height. So the height is going to be equal to sine of 54 times the adjacent side, 8. Let's actually see what that would be. Turn on your calculator, make sure that you are in degrees, and you're going to put parentheses sine of 54 times 8, which gives us 6.47, roughly speaking. Oh, wait a minute. My opposite side here is given as 5. This is definitely bigger than 5. So if that is the case, we're never actually going to reach. So this is just a made-up triangle that doesn't actually exist. So we can just write no solution. We don't have to solve anything with law of sines when we're done. Pretty nice, huh? All right. For the next one, I want you to pause the video and try to figure out which one this is. Shouldn't take you too long. Just figure it out. Don't do any work. Just figure it out. All right. So you're given an acute. You're also given that the opposite side is larger than the adjacent side, which means that we're going to just have one solution and we're going to need to solve. So we're going to use law of sines. So the first setup I'm going to do is write sine of 42 over 22 is equal to sine of b over 12. All right, pause the video, solve for b, and then use that to help you solve for c, angle c, and then side c. Okay, with my calculator, I'm going to help you out now that you've tried it all out. So it should have been 12 times, actually, let's go ahead and just find out what the sine of 42 divided by 22 is. Okay, multiply by 12. And then do arc sine of our answer. So I'm getting 21.4, so I'll just write 21.4. Now I know all three angles of a triangle add up to make 180, so I can say 180 minus, that's minus, our last answer, minus 42, which gives us 116.59. So I'll say 116.6. Okay, and now we're going to just use law of sines again to solve for the other guy. Sine of c, no, sine of 116.6 degrees over c. I'm going to cross multiply, and then we'll finish this up in a moment.